Hey, it's Andrew Morgan, host of the Nomcast, the Netflix original movie podcast. Each week, we review the biggest Netflix original movies with special guests from the film industry, the music industry, comedians, and of course, our fellow podcasters. Check us out on the web at nomcastpod.com. Follow us on the socials at nomcastpod. And most importantly, listen and subscribe to us wherever you get podcasts. Hit that beat one time.
Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Elise,
host of Crackin' One Open with Mike and Elise.
a podcast about brews, news, and pop culture reviews.
Every Friday, we choose a new craft beer from a different brewery and talk about
The history of the beer,
what's in it,
how it was made,
the history of the brewery.
along with tasting notes and more fun facts.
After that, come chill with us as we bring you the latest in pop culture news and reviews.
So check out Crackin' When Open, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Boom!
I guess I like sports movies.
Yeah, like real creepy like. Did you notice him with his pants down?
Oh, with his pants down?
Yeah.
I just noticed somebody was there.
Yeah. No, his pants are down.
He's taking it down?
And I'm thinking to myself, I want to do the secret cabal stuff. I don't want to just go and drink.
You still got to wear a cloak and stuff.
No. I want the real cabal stuff. Like I want the stuff where we're controlling the world.
I want the signet ring.
You know what? Screw that. Hello, I'm Mike Field,
Johnny Mike Butler.
and you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast, and that is enough of that. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences, whether it's because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the movie simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And Butler, why are we doing Cockney accents?
It is 1888 in London. The unfortunate poor lead horrifying lives in the city's deadliest slum, Whitechapel. Harassed by gangs and forced to walk the streets for a living, Mary Kelly and a small group of companions trudge on through the daily misery, their only consolation being things can't get any worse. Yet things somehow do when their friend Anne is kidnapped and they are drawn into a conspiracy with links higher up than they could possibly imagine. The kidnapping is soon followed by the gruesome murder of another woman, Polly, and it becomes apparent that they are being hunted down one by one. Sinister even by Whitechapel standards, the murder grabs the attention of Inspector Frederick Abberline, a brilliant yet troubled man whose police work is often aided by his psychic abilities. Abberline becomes deeply involved with the case, which takes on personal meaning for him when he and Mary begin to fall in love. But as he gets closer to the truth, Whitechapel becomes more and more dangerous for Abberline, Mary, and the other girls. Whomever is responsible for the grisly acts is not going to give up his secret without a fight. Will they be able to survive the avenging force that have been sent after them from hell?
Ooh.
That was an extremely long synopsis.
It was, and
The other ones were
highly obnoxious with that accent of yours.
Listen, man, this is the accent for the rest of the episode.
No. I am not doing this podcast if that accent continues. I will walk. So we are actually doing From Hell, the movie starring Johnny Depp. I love how he's troubled. He's an opium addict. He's not troubled.
He is.
He's an opium
yeah.
addict. Anyways,
He's chasing. He's chasing the dragon.
Everybody knows about chasing the dragon. All right, so From Hell came out on October 19th, 2001. It has a runtime of 122 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $35 million. Opening weekend, it did $11 million. Domestic, 31. Worldwide, 74.5. Production company was Underworld Pictures, Don Murphy Productions, and Jane Hampshire and Amy Robinson Productions, and it was distributed by 20th Century Fox, now known as 20th Century.
Weird.
I know, right? So, like I said, this movie came out on the 19th. It came up against Riding in Cars with Boys, the Drew Barrymore star, The Last Castle, which was the James Gandolfini,
Robert Redford,
which I kind of like.
It's okay.
And then in a limited release, Waking Life, which was a Richard Linklater. It was that rotoscope one they did where they animated the like with Ethan Hawke, and I think they animated.
Oh, was that the one? Okay.
I think that was Waking Life. The week after, the 26th, you had 13 Ghosts, another horror movie. I don't remember that one. I always confuse that one with the 13th Floor.
13 Ghosts has Monk.
Yeah, no,
as the
Tony
dad.
Shalhoub's in that. I
Yeah.
know that.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's a remake.
like I said, I've seen it, but I confuse it with the 13th floor consistently.
That's 13th floor is more Matrixy, right? That's
Yes.
one where it's yeah.
But I like the 13th floor.
I only think I've seen parts of 13th floor.
Interesting. Also coming out the 26th is Butler's favorite movie, K-Pax.
I do like it. I don't care what you say.
What I say is what everyone else says. It's boring. On the Line, and then the Snoop Dogg horror movie Bones, which I have never seen. I mean, I just don't know why I never got to it. Limited release, you had Donnie Darko, Life as a House, and Ginger Snaps. Those are some pretty strong limited releases right there.
Fun fact: I really don't like Johnny Darko.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not? I don't think. Go ahead. Why not?
I find it boring. I don't think he's terribly good in it. And
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, and I don't
Really?
think the twist is at all interesting.
Now, I actually like Donnie Darko, but it's a little overblown in people's love for it. Let's put it that way. It's a good. I think it's a good movie, but it's not like a movie where I can list a bunch of other movies that have done that kind of genre well, better than Donnie Darko. But Donnie Darko, that was Gyllenhaal's like movie where it's like, oh my god, this guy's and he's a good actor. I'm surprised you don't like him in this.
I like Jack, but I don't like him in this.
Although I would say that October Sky is another one that kind of put him on the map too.
I like
but-
October Sky quite a bit.
Yeah. That's interesting. Hot take. Butler does not like Donnie Darko. So send in your letters. Angry.
Bring it on.
All right. So on the 12th of October, which is the week before that when From Hell came out, you had Bandits, Corky Romano, and Iron Monkey. Now, Bandits actually had a premiere at the Orange Theater that I worked at where Levinson, I don't know if Levinson was there because he lived in the area. He lived in like Reading or something like that. I don't know if he still does. And they had people coming because that's his movie. That's with
cool.
Bruce Willis. It was okay. I mean, the
I've seen it, but I don't
the
remember.
premiere
much
was a
of it.
pain in the butt, but it was okay. So now this is directed by From Hell. It's directed by the Hughes Brothers. What have they? I haven't heard from them in a while, but they have done Menace to Society, Dead Presidents, The Book of Eli. They've also done. No, I think that's it. I'm sorry. Albert Hughes has done Alpha, which was the movie that came out 2 years ago with the kid and the dog.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like takes place in like Before Man, that kind of thing.
Yep, the one that it took forever to come out.
Oh yeah, that was an IMAX release too.
Yeah.
And then Alan Hughes has done the TV show Touching Evil and then Broken City, which is a movie with Mark Wahlberg and Russell Crowe. That's another movie I have seen and I don't remember anything about it.
Nice.
But they haven't done a lot. I haven't heard from them in a while lately. The Hughes Brothers.
Oh, they producing stuff?
Maybe. I mean, I looked through their stuff. It's just maybe they've got a lot of start and stops and stuff like that.
They are not doing much.
That's fine. I mean, that's whatever. It happens.
Alan Hughes has a Tupac documentary.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Written by Terry Hayes and Rafael Iglesias. Terry Hayes has done The Road Warrior, the original The Road Warrior, Mad
Nice.
Max Beyond Thunderdome, Dead Calm, and Payback. Iglesias has done Death and the Maiden, Les Miserables, the 98 version, and then Dark Water. This is based on the graphic novel that is written by Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell. I don't really have credits for them in terms of other graphic novels. So,
Alan Moore did Watchmen.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead. Cinematography by Peter Deming. He has done more recently The New Mutants. Unfortunately, he's also done Capone, Cabin in the Woods, The Screams 2 through 4, and House Party, which was we did on season 2.
That's right. And you talk about Capone. Everyone talks about Capone so
It's not-
badly that I want to watch it just to see how bad it is.
Capone, it's here's the thing. I question why Tom Hardy chose that movie and then I start questioning all his choices because literally that movie it deals with the end of Capone's life.
Yeah, syphilis Capone.
Yeah, but pardon the pun, I shit you not. There is at least 4 or 5 instances where he craps his pants, and it's like done in the movie. It's like, what is going on here? Like, it's like I get it. It's awful, but what are we doing here? You gotta. I don't watch it. I don't watch it. Composed by Trevor Jones. He has done Labyrinth, Mississippi Burning, which is an awesome movie, Notting Hill, and Dark City, another good one. Edited by George Bowers and Dan Lebenthal. Now, Bowers has done Private Resort, Shoot to Kill, which is one that's on our list, A League of Their Own, and Money Train. I always remember Money Train because the guy that runs the Money Train his line is always like, nothing stops the money train. That's what Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. Dan Lebenthal has done Iron Man, Bad Boys for Life, 11-14, another movie we did for our season 5 audience choice, and Cowboys and Aliens. Jane Hampshire and Don Murphy. I've got 2 producers here. Hampshire has done After Pupil, Permanent Midnight, and Double Dragon. Yes. And Murphy has done Natural Born Killers, Transformers, Real Steel, Gemini Man. Would you say that Natural Born Killers is forgotten? Because I remember, here's the thing why. Because I remember Natural Born Killers when it came out. And I remember the uproar over Natural Born Killers. And I remember how, like, me and my friends, like, we had a mission of finding the unrated version because there was like 20 minutes of stuff where, like, in the original theatrical version, because Tommy Lee Jones is in that movie, he plays the warden. At the end of the movie, there's a prison breakout, and they escape. Mm-hmm. And they kill Tommy Lee Jones. But in the unrated version, you see Tommy Lee Jones' head on a stake. And they're like walking around with it, like the prisoners are walking around with it. But like there was stuff that they cut out of this movie, and I remember how it was such a huge thing. Oh my god, this movie's just ridiculous. It's terrible, glorifying violence, blah, 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 this and then. And it's like that movie's what, in the 90s, right?
It was like early 90s.
Yeah, and we're 30 years later, and it's like no one says boo about it. Like I wouldn't say that it's a forgotten movie, but I'm starting to think it is.
Every once in a while, you see something pop up about it. Like there was an article about it. I can't remember where, maybe like Screen Rant or something last year about something about it. Maybe it's anniversary.
Probably.
I think it's known. Like people know Woody Harrelson did an over the top violent movie. I wouldn't say that a lot of people my age have seen it.
That movie was also because it was while he was doing Cheers. So it's like you see him as Woody Boyd on Cheers, and then he does Natural Born Killers. You're like, holy cow, what's going on here? That's Woody Boyd. But because I don't see it on HBO, I don't see it on Stars, I don't see it out there.
Oh no,
you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
It, yeah.
But I remember when that came out, it was like, oh my god, we got to see this movie. I mean, it's tame compared to what you see in horror movies and stuff like that. I think it's just the shock value of it. But I kind of want to watch it again. But anyways, so that's Natural Born Killers I was talking about. All right, so this movie stars Johnny Depp as Inspector Frederick Abberline. Now, obviously, you know him from his bigger films, and he was nominated for his roles in The Pirates of the Caribbean, Finding Neverland, and Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, yes. But he was also, his first movie was Nightmare on Elm Street. He's also in Private Resort and Crybaby, which is a good movie. Heather Graham plays Mary Kelly. She is in License to Drive. Remember that? The girl that Corey Haim wants to go out with. Nobody remembers that. I'm that old. Okay, so she's also in I Love You to Death, Boogie Nights, and The Stand. She's in the upcoming The Stand TV show on CBS All Access.
Well, I'm very excited for that. I hope it's good.
Ian Holm, who actually recently passed away this year, is Sir William Gull. He was nominated for an Oscar in Chariot Fire. He's also an Alien. He was in Brazil, a movie we did, and he's in the Hobbit movies. He's what is he?
Older Bilbo.
Yeah, older dude. Robbie Coltrane as Sergeant Peter Goldie. I don't know if that's Godly. Yeah, I have a typo there. Now, obviously, everyone knows Coltrane as Hagrid from the Harry Potter movies.
That's not how I know him from.
Butler knows him from GoldenEye. I know him from the Cracker TV show, on the BBC Cracker TV show, which they kind of tried to do over here with Robert Pastorelli, which was okay. But the Cracker BBC, if you like procedurals, I know you don't, but if you like procedurals, you should check out the Cracker TV BBC show. I'm looking at my buddy Keith Flynn, who loves that show as well. So Keith, we're on the same page there. Ian Richardson it plays Sir Charles Warren. He is in the original BBC show of House of Cards that the other one was based on. He's also in Dark City and again Brazil. Jason Fleming as Netley. He's been in Rob Roy, Deep Rising. Deep Rising was the one about the
tentacles taking over the cruise ship. I like Deep Rising. It's a nice schlocky movie.
That is probably the only Stephen Sommers film that is okay. Don't even start with the Mummy.
The Mummy is good.
The Mummy's okay.
The
okay,
Mummy
fine.
is
I'll
good.
tell you what. I'll give you the Mummy. I'll give you the Mummy.
Everything else is garbage.
Yes, agreed.
Deep Rising is garbage as well, but it's fun garbage.
Deep Rising and the Mummy. I think the Mummy. I correct myself. The Mummy is better than Deep Rising, but Deep Rising does have some interesting moments.
It's got some good lines.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't take itself seriously, which is nice.
Agreed. He's also in Rockstar and Seed of Chucky. Terrence Harvey plays Benjamin Kidney. He's been in Johnny English, The Man Who Knew Too Little, and Basic Instinct 2. And now I have all the women here. I've all listed together the women that are the victims, that are the victims of the quote unquote Ripper. I don't know why I'm quoting that. Susan Lynch plays Liz Stride. She's in Ready Player One and Waking the Divine. Katrin Cartledge is Dark Annie Chapman. I don't know why she's Dark Annie. Do you know why she's Dark Annie?
That's just her. What was her name on the street? No, I didn't get why.
She's been in Breaking the Waves, Naked, and No Man's Land. She actually passed away in 2002. Leslie Sharp is Kate Eddowes. No, Leslie Sharp is played by, Leslie Sharp is Kate Eddowes, The Full Monty, Naked, and Vera Drake. Annabelle Apsian is Polly Nichols. She's in Ironclad and the TV show Call the Midwife, which my wife keeps trying to get me to watch. Joanna Page is Anne Crook. She's in Love Actually. Do you know which part of Love Actually she's in?
No.
She's the one that is with Martin Freeman when they're pretending to do the sex scenes and they want to ask each other out. And and they're like, do the nude stand-ins. Yeah.
I saw Love Actually once in like freshman year of high school. So
you've never seen it?
I saw it once in the freshman year of high school.
Does your fiance like it?
I actually don't know.
I think you should watch it this year.
I know you very much.
It's
like
listen. I know people hate it. I know it's fun to hate that movie, and I get it.
Yeah,
It's fine. It's fine. Listen, I'm not sitting here telling you it's Citizen Kane, everyone. Okay, but it's like
good.
it's a movie to watch. Some of the vignettes are funny. Some don't work. Some work. But it's whatever. It's a holiday film. I mean, don't judge me. I'll watch whatever the hell I want.
Yeah, it's a little defensive right now.
Because I'm tired of. Because I
hurt you?
can't stand when like a movie is clearly people. Oh, I like that movie, and then there's just like this vicious backlash for no friggin' reason because people just want to be contrarians. But anyways,
I feel like you've been hurt.
She's also in Doolittle, and she's in the Gavin and Stacey TV show on the BBC. And then Samantha Spiro, as Martha Tabram. She's in Me Before You and the 2014 version of Macbeth. She plays the name Macbeth. Okay, Butler.
15 minutes into the podcast. Yes.
We always go 15 minutes with that nonsense. Listen, I got to tell you, Whitechapel, man, I don't ever. That's a hard place to work and live.
The entire time I was thinking if I was a time traveler and my time machine got broken in 1888, I think I would just go, well, I'm dead now. And I would just finish myself because I don't know if I want to live there. Yeah.
Holy cow, it's dark. All right. So this deals with I know it's based on a graphic novel, but it also deals with real life,
which is interesting.
A real life killer. So I think I'm trying to remember my first reactions to this movie, and I think I liked it, and I don't mind it, but I can't help in the back of my mind when I'm watching it, just thinking like, this didn't really happen. I mean, I know they're tying it all together. I know that they're trying to have these women connected in somehow. They have this conspiracy theory of the Ripper is connected to the royal family, and they can't have it getting out that they know that someone in their family, what was it, Prince Albert Victor, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
That he, had a child with one of these women. If you don't know, these women are prostitutes. And then, that's such a scandal, and they're going to go kill all them because they know. And
not just prostitutes, Catholic. That the baby would be born Catholic.
Right. Was that the problem? Because they got married.
The problem was they got married in a Catholic church, so that baby is now Catholic.
Because he's Protestant?
I believe the royal family at that time was,
Church of England. Yeah. We should probably have an expert on here. No, agreed. So it was such a big scandal that they wanted to wipe it, and they ask who becomes the Ripper. They ask Sir. Listen, if you haven't seen this movie, we're going to spoil it.
Yeah, you should.
They asked Sir William Gull, played by Ian Holm, to take care of it. I just don't know what they intended for him to take care of. Did they tell him to kill them all? Like, what was the conversation between the royal family and Sir William Gull?
I think the Queen was like, you kind of get the feeling at the end. The Queen was like, yeah, we wanted them silenced, but what he did was way out of line.
But what do you tell him when you say, hey, silence them? Like, is it a payoff? Is it kill them?
I think she was like, a bullet to the back of the head real quick and thrown off the River Thames would be nice. But instead, he goes and mutilates
But I understand that. But how are you asking a royal physician to go and murder people? I don't understand that.
Maybe she wanted him to poison them and make it a less traceable crime.
Maybe.
Definitely not start an uproar where they're about to kill everybody who's a Jew or a Red Indian or this or that.
I got to think it's a lot easier to round them up and say, look, you're either going to get on a ship, we're going to give you money, and you're going to the States, to the colonies.
Yep.
And you're going to live there.
Colonies is 1888.
I know. You're going to go there, or we're going to murder you. Pick a choice. Go.
No,
That's what they would offer.
These people are poor and they live in Whitechapel. They take any deal you give them. And also, if they go off, who's going to believe them?
Right.
Oh, yeah, my friend had a baby that was the Prince of England. They can be like, yeah, lady, go back to your apartment.
Yeah. So the other thing in terms of comparing this story with the real Ripper case is that the Ripper murders took longer. It wasn't in the span of a week.
Right.
So the real murders took place August 31st and November 9th. But the investigation took many years after that. So again, that's in the back of my mind. The whole stuff with Abberline and how they make him, like, he was a real inspector at Scotland Yard, but he wasn't a dope fiend. He wasn't a clairvoyant. He didn't die right after the case. He died when he was in his 80s in 1929.
Right. Well, this doesn't make him seem like he dies right after the case because you get that flash where the little girl is older. So I imagine he dies at that point.
Well, okay, but that's maybe 3 years later, 4 years later.
Yeah. But he doesn't
I got you.
End it right then and there.
But this just it's these movies sometimes are tough to kind of get in your mind. Like, okay, this is based on a real event, but this is a fictionalized story. Okay, do I buy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because the Ripper murder is so known.
Exactly. It's taken so many twists and turns and variations. Yeah. Sherlock Holmes has battled Jack the Ripper 80,000 times.
Yeah.
Hell, in my Assassin's Creed game I've got, you can fight Jack the Ripper as an assassin.
Yeah. So according to John Douglas, who was the creator of Criminal Profiling, he actually wrote the book that Mindhunter is based on, the show on Netflix, which I cannot believe they canceled. But anyways, and he claims that the Ripper murders were the work of a disorganized paranoid personality. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I believe him. I believe Douglas just because the man knows his stuff, obviously. So knowing that, I feel bad because I feel like I'm tossing shade in this movie when I shouldn't. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of where I'm coming from viewing this film.
Okay.
But like, you give me something so I can take another drink of water.
Well, I've always been really fascinated by the Jack the Ripper murders. I mean, obviously they've been in so many popular culture things. You know, we grew up watching like Sherlock Holmes things where it's Jack the Ripper or Jack the Ripper this and that. And he's been on cartoon shows and like cartoon versions of him. So he's just such a famous, interesting case. And that's such an interesting time when the world was just becoming modern, but it was still grisly and still kind of, even in London, where you think is all upper crust and hoity-toity, dark and seedy, and it's just a good ghost story, I guess, even though it's not a ghost. And he's such an unknown villain
Because he was never caught.
He's never caught, leaving those notes. He's basically, you know, he's a Batman villain, a real life Batman villain for some reason. So I always thought that was fascinating. And all the different theories, even though lately they've been starting to disprove a lot of things, like some people did think it was the prince or it was a royal conspiracy, and they've started to kind of slowly being like, no, it wasn't that, because modern forensics and technology and detective work has been able to go, no, it's not that, it's not this. Or the fact that it was different murders and it's just one copycat out of the other, because Whitechapel was a terrible, terrible place.
It looked it. I like the opening shot of the movie because it kind of that one shot that introduces it. But it's just like, first thing I noticed was like, that guy's having sex with that girl against the wall.
Yep.
All right.
The other guy's dead. The dragging it.
Yeah. I know.
Some beggars begging some lady, some kids on the side of the street picking up chairs.
Awful.
That's got to smell too.
Well, they built the 4 blocks. So they shot this in Prague. And the 4 blocks of Whitechapel, they actually built on the location. So that's all a huge set, which is pretty cool. I always like that. And you can tell, but you're like, I'm cool with this. Did you like the visuals of the sky when they were dark orange and dark red?
Yes, because I didn't remember that the first time I saw it. And
Okay,
I really liked because you're in hell. And it opens and the birds are so slowly. They slow down the birds in the distance, which almost makes them look like demons.
I was just going to tell you, I thought those were dragons. They were huge.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, shit, that's a really cool opening shot that really establishes this is going to be not a nice story. And I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
Overall, though, when I watched this, I was like expecting to either like it just as much as I did when I first watched it. Because I'd seen this when it first came out about 3 times. And then I haven't watched it since.
Yeah.
I thought I'd either like it the same or like it less. And instead, there are some things I like about it more and some things I like about it less, but it kind of balances out to about the same.
Well, let's go into those specifics then.
I really enjoy how they kind of tie the whole plot together. And I enjoy the sets. I enjoy the look of the film, the sky. I enjoy how the murders are filmed, which watching some of the director's commentary, I learned that it's because the Hughes brothers didn't like some of the murders the way it looked.
Well,
so they kind of changed it.
the one where Dark
Annie's
Annie's murder,
yeah, they kind of changed
because they had Dark Annie's murder. They had the actor. He just had, I think it was the stunt guy. They had the back one, but they had to black out his face so you couldn't see it, and then
change it in post to make it more dark. Yeah,
but when you kept seeing like his ear was blackened and stuff like that, so they ended up using stuff. So her murder is you see her walking down the alley, and she disappears. You hear him grab her, and then they cut the like flashes, and they just cut the flashes.
They cut the Abberline as he's walking and running, but not to the right location.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's stuff like that. So I actually like that better. I like those those theatrical flashes of the murder, and I love the first murder, where grabs her in the dark,
knife,
and the knife is just glimmering, and you just see the spouts of blood against that glimmering knife.
Yep.
I think that's really cool. But the love story that they have in there, is it takes a long time for Abberline to meet and finally talk to Mary Kelly.
Yeah,
which I don't remember, so it feels very rushed from then on. And I know the movie is a little over 2 hours, so I'm not saying I'd like a longer movie, but I'd like a longer movie because I'm so interested in this period of time and this case in general that I wouldn't mind another 20 minutes to have her introduced a little earlier maybe and stretch that out a little bit. But it's not that I don't like that they connect, but I don't like how quickly they connect.
I don't like the fact that she got perfect teeth and she looks great And she's like,
Well-
and then you look at all the other prostitutes, you're just like, come on.
She's the best looking prostitute in London. I was thinking the same thing.
Come on.
The other note was, I remember why I liked this movie so much when I was younger.
Yeah.
Was
No,
'cause I had
no
a friend.
kidding.
Yeah.
Uh,
As soon as it was on, I was like, oh, that's why I liked this movie.
the other thing was that I don't know if I like that Abberline is clairvoyant. I don't, because a lot of his assumptions to the case and a lot of his connections are from when he smokes opium.
Even when I was younger, I didn't like that because his visions are so unclear anyway that it's kind of an unnecessary plot point.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing I didn't like even when I was in, I must have been a freshman in high school or like 8th grade when I watched this the first time.
Well, 2001.
Yeah. So I didn't even like that back then. And now I still don't like it, but I'm okay with it knowing now, which I didn't know then, that it's based on a graphic novel.
I understand that. I get that that's where that's from. But I don't think in the graphic novel that, in the graphic novel, so it followed the Ripper's viewpoint, and Abberline's only in a couple chapters, and the psychic is the clairvoyant is a separate character in their book, and then later on admits that the visions are fake. So for some reason that got roped into like he has visions now.
Right. Well, because they got to condense things.
But here's the thing: the strength in this movie is that they're taking I guess, fantastical figure in history,
Mhm.
and they're basing it in a reality. You know, like it's really the doctor, and he wasn't crazy. He was doing it for these reasons, but he went crazy. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
They're
Like,
kind of they're conflating a lot of conspiracies into a single conspiracy.
right, but they're giving you something concrete, something real, almost, I don't say realistic, but based in reality.
Believable. Yeah, you can see that
believability.
happening.
Yes. But then but that's the strength. And then you immediately negate that strength when you have
His
an
psychic
investigator who is not doing any kind of investigation except he's clairvoyant.
Well, I think he does do investigating.
But that's
He's got the grapes. He talks to the professor. He's
Sure.
doing the footwork,
But
which
he-
is why his visions are absolutely pointless.
but nobody doesn't make the connect. But see, here's the thing: he has the visions, and then he's like, "I seen it in a petticoat. I've seen like he's envisioned the murder 4 murders away."
Yeah, but it doesn't stop the murders from happening.
I know. I don't.
And then when he gets to the murders, oh, I get you.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you in a different
Yeah.
way. Like, I just don't think they help. I think you could cut that out completely and have the exact same movie. And if you still want to make him a drug addict to show he's got issues, you can still do that and not make him a psychic.
Yeah. No. I just. Yeah.
I get that was in the graphic novel, but you don't need psychic powers to make it a graphic novel story.
Agreed. I also. I mean, like, I'm not a Freemason, but apparently they're responsible for a lot of bad things. In every movie, it's something they do.
I think now they're just like people like it's drinking, but hey, join the Freemasons. I know they have a problem with signups now.
Really.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know. I'll join it.
I've always wanted.
join a
I
secret
thought it was
club.
cool.
I mean, you know, do we have to do the thing where they stab me in the heart?
No, it's
And-
changed. It's just like a drinking club now. They just want members.
I don't know what that. I don't want.
They opened it up.
I want to do. No. Hold on. I want to do the secret cabal stuff. I don't want to just go and
there's
drink.
you still got to wear a cloak and stuff.
No.
think, when
I
you
want
sign
the.
up.
I want the real cabal stuff. Like I want the stuff where we're controlling the world.
I want the signet ring. I want to be like I want to walk by somebody who's got the
right.
ring and like go a slow nod.
Give me a nod, right?
Yeah. And like you see a cashier in line, he's also got the thing. And all of a sudden he stops scanning certain items and puts them on your cart.
Well, we should just start a fight club. I mean, that's
Wait, is this a test, Mr. Green?
I'll tell you something I liked back then and that I like now is
Mhm.
when Gull's eyes go black like a shark.
This is the first time I noticed it. I really
Shut
liked
up!
that.
Really?
I didn't remember
I
that. in the
always
first one.
remember that. Yeah, no, I love that.
That's really cool,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. And he must have worn contacts for that.
That's
which,
what I was thinking.
which is
yeah.
better. I mean, but like when he's sitting there, and that's the other thing. Abberline like suddenly makes the connection that he's the Ripper when he goes to the house at the end, and he's just suddenly like, and then he opens his eyes and they're black, and then he just suddenly reveals. I'm like, what?
I think Abberline is prodding him into doing it. He's talking about the Freemason. He
Right.
knows that Gull's a Freemason, so he kind of goads, hoping he'll either give someone else away or himself or Gull himself away.
Yeah.
And by insulting the Freemasons, and he's so fanatical, which again we also don't learn until he turns into the demon. That he's so fanatical about it that he can't take that insult, and he just admits to the whole crime.
Right. One more thing about the Ripper. So, just in terms of the storyline,
Mm-hmm.
if Gull was contracted to get rid of the girls, all right, to get rid of the women, excuse me. If Gull was contracted to get rid of the women, why was he not contracted to kill the baby?
maybe because that's a royal child, maybe the queen was still like, but she's still my grandchild.
I don't know about that.
But yeah, I also was wondering about that because you killed the grandparents and the grandparents suddenly quote unquote disappear. They're dead. The kids in an orphanage.
Kids in the
perfectly
orphanage.
fine.
Why? It has a claim to the throne.
Exactly. And you kill the prostitutes who
Right. So
probably won't say anything to begin with.
But let's say for the sake of argument that the baby was a target. Okay. The first time the Ripper kills, he's staring at, I don't know, remember who was the first one that dies? Is it Polly? Who's the first one that gets murdered? Not Polly. Was it Liz? Martha. Who cares? So the first one that gets killed, she is talking with.
It is Liz.
Okay, so when Liz is sitting there talking with Mary, Mary's holding the baby, and the Ripper's watching them from across the street, and then Liz goes left, and Mary goes right with the baby, and the Ripper follows Liz.
Yep.
If your target's the baby, why are you not after the baby? Now I get it. Mike, plot. Mary Kelly's the lead. Okay, fine. But still, then don't put him there going, all right, so I'm here because I got to stop this royal stuff happening and I got to get rid of that baby. But you know what?
I got to kill one of them, but Mary Kelly gets killed last in history. So I have to get Liz, but the baby's right there.
But my knife's in the left hand and she went left, so I'm going to go that way. Yeah, it's just the story stuff.
Yeah.
I guess.
And he doesn't
it's a
kill her
movie,
till
Mike.
nighttime.
Shut up.
Oh, no, it is nighttime when they split up.
It's a movie. I get it. Shut up, Mike. You're just being stupid. I get that. I understand all that, but don't put me in a situation where I question it then. Make it so he only goes after Liz.
Well, the other thing is that the women are so dumb sometimes. And by sometimes I mean all the time. They constantly are getting murdered one by one. Yep. And they constantly split up, and they constantly split up at night. Even when they're not, I get when you're working,
right?
But even when they're not working, they're just hanging out. They end up splitting up. I'm sorry, a small argument when there's still a murder out there. I'm sorry, I'm mad at you, but I'm staying in this.
There probably should have been a little bit more stuff in there where it was almost like they got into arguments specifically to split them up,
exactly,
like you said, and it wasn't like organic to the story.
It was like a Scooby-Doo cartoon.
Well, I need to die now, so let's fight about how I brought this woman over who I tried, because the one was at the end when she befriends the other prostitute,
the French girl,
French girl, and she wants to make out with her, but the French girl's only like just pretending to like her for a place, whatever, regardless.
Yeah.
And then they kind of, what do they call her? Don't be a monster. Don't be a pig. Is that what she says to her when she tries to kiss her? She says
that's what they know. That's the first.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that that's what they don't.
Yeah,
like
to argue about. Yeah,
they don't like the fact that she likes women, and so then it's like, oh, well, now you need to leave. So now let's pick a fight.
Yeah,
agreed. It's a little much.
Although she is a little rapey.
Who? Martha,
yeah. She does get a little rapey. Something like she's really like puts herself on these women.
Whitechapel is
I get that.
Is a tough town.
I get that.
It's a tough part of the town. I mean, it's like listen,
but she's like grabbing face.
Well, she's repressed. I mean, she's being instructed to fight her urges.
It's like no means no.
She did. Listen, I can't speak to that time. Thank God I don't live because I would not survive.
Listen, just use my poop bucket. I know I've already used it a couple times today, but I've pissed on it too. So it's kind of balanced everything.
Use my bucket. I can't talk. My voice is killing me. I will. You talk.
Jeez, dude.
I know. Well, we got to shoot a commercial after this and do another podcast episode. Okay. You talked about the deaths. I think one of the things that I liked about all the murders was that they're all different. They're all different styles. They're all different looks. Mm-hmm. There's a different feel to all the murders. I enjoyed that. I'm trying to think, like, it's almost like there's two different, it's almost like Abberline stuff, Johnny Depp stuff is so reactive to everything in the movie. He's just reacting to all the murders. He's just reacting to like the breadcrumbs that the Ripper leaves behind. He's not doing anything till the end when he thinks he's solved it, or when he goes to look into the files with his ready-made candle that was in his pocket apparently. And
and he goes to
he goes to Kidney's it's like Special Branch.
Right, yeah. You don't fuck with Special Branch. Yeah. Special Branch fucks with you.
Yeah. So like all that, like that's the only time he gets proactive about the case. Everything else is a reactive.
I don't mind that so much because I find that happens a lot when you do a historically accurate film, like not Saving Private Ryan. They're doing their own mission.
Did I earn it? No,
other than like the D-Day mission you see at the beginning, but other movies like Pearl Harbor or Last Samurai we were talking about. I mean, yes, Tom Cruise is helping the samurai, but like we talked about, it's really Ken Watabe's story.
Yes.
it's very similar where now you have historical facts and you're putting somebody who maybe really existed in there, but these things have to happen, and he can't be there because historically he wasn't there.
Right.
So it's tough to have, and I still like this. It's a detective story, but he can't really solve it in time because he doesn't really solve it in time.
You can make the case that this is not Abberline's story. This is actually Ripper's story. Like Ripper's the main character. Gull's the main character.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, you can make that case. You can make that case that Mary Kelly's the main character. But they give they give Gull a lot of airtime. A lot of, you know what I mean? Like
They do. Once Abberline
Right.
meets him, he's like Abberline's go-to
right.
helper.
Mm-hmm. So you can definitely make the case for that. So maybe that's the other thing too. Like Abberline's in there. Like I'm trying to think, who's the character in this movie that's supposed to represent us? Exactly.
None, because it's such a shitty time.
I
it's
get
tough to
that,
put
but
us in there.
I mean, I know we're supposed to relate to Abberline, but like I don't smoke opium and get clairvoyance, so I don't. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, but he only is doing that because
I get
he
it.
lost his wife.
I'm being
Thing,
picky and just kind of needling, trying to figure it out. But we're being told a story, and I think that's very evident. And I think maybe we can't really put ourselves into the story. It's almost like a graphic novel. Like you're kind of reading it, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
And no, I get you. I mean, I know, like I said, I'm diving deep into this movie, but on the face of it, I do enjoy the film. I just think it kind of, I think there's room for where I don't know. I just, because I temper my praise of it because it's just, I feel like something's missing sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being off. Maybe I'm off.
I feel like the having to adapt both historical fiction and a graphic novel makes it really tough and adds another layer on top of that. Like you talked about earlier, it adds another layer that you now have to wrestle with as a filmmaker, as a screenwriter, as an actor is you're doing a film based on a book, based on an actual event. And now you're suddenly taking 3 steps back from the actual historical accuracy of it while still kind of like, I know the Hughes brothers really tried to get the murders exactly right. Exactly.
Which is completely awesome, and I respect that you want to get as accurate as possible. Like even like Dark Annie's death, even though they cut it out, Dark Annie's death, the way they shot it actually happened the way it is, where they actually had the guy on the other side of the fence who heard it,
but taking the piss and heard it,
so that, but they cut that out. But like they are absolutely, which I like. I think maybe the Abberline stuff, it kind of pulls me away from it a little bit, and maybe if this was less stylized and more realistic, more based in believability and realism, maybe I'd like it a little bit more.
Stylized is in taking away the from hell type tone of it, or keeping that, just taking away the psychic powers.
I take away the psychic powers.
Because I agree. They don't add or take away anything.
I think it only hurts it. Make him a little bit more procedural. He could be an opium addict, but I don't make it a more procedural. He should be somebody who can solve the case, on his own merits. Like he is that good. Like you see, like
I still think he's very good.
Well, but that's the thing. Like Godley's appreciation of him, and he clearly respects him immensely because he's the second, because he knows he's a great detective. But we never get to see that except when he goes and talks to Gull, or when he goes to second special branch.
Oh, we get that with the grapes. We get that with
you're right.
The laudanum on the lips,
yep,
which he only knows because he's an opium addict.
Correct.
Which would be
which
fine.
Works.
And then he gets that when he knows that she was in the carriage.
Yeah.
Because she isn't wet. We get that there's no blood spray on the fence, so he knows that she's been taken as well. So you get hints that he's a really good detective. So why does he need visions? Just to tell me,
I think
I'll get
visions
visions. I've seen you on a hill, so we can get that ending scene.
I agree. I think that affects it. We haven't even talked about the Elephant Man being in this movie. Why?
Just because screw the upper class people, just because they think he's a circus show. It's not about, I think that shows that it's not about being, which so does the lobotomy scene. It shows that these doctors aren't doctors to help people. They're doctors to be famous and successful. They're not doctors for the way a lot of people become doctors today.
Well, clearly, because it's the 1880, it's 1800s.
Exactly.
No, I get that.
Look at this freak. Now give our hospital
look at
more
the
money, and you can look at more
one little
things.
tap here, one little tap here. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Left lobe, right lobe, front lobe.
They didn't know what they were doing.
And you're blind.
They didn't know what they were doing.
But you're not going to fight me anymore.
Agreed. but that's what medicine was. I mean, that's
Oh, I know.
yeah. You should watch The Nick. I know I've recommended that to you before.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when they were doing the lobotomy. I was like, this kind of looks like the Nick.
The
but
Nick is
I've only
really
seen the
good, but
trailers,
The
yeah.
Nick is something that goes to what you're talking about is of the difference between certain doctors and what people are trying to do and stuff like that. You should really watch. The Nick is really good.
Well, I still really want to watch that other show too with Dakota Fanning,
The Alienist.
The Alienist. I know you say the book is better, but
The books are both.
I do want to watch because it's a period in time I'm more interested in.
It is,
stuff
but
like
the books are much better because like Dakota Fanning's character is two people in the book. It's not just her.
that sounds like too much. I just condense them into one character and watch something.
It's not. It's I like The Alienist, but here's my problem with The Alienist. It's on TNT, so you can't really do as much as you'd like to do.
Yeah,
It feels like
It
it
should
feels
be
like network
Netflix or
programming.
something.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels like network programming. And the second season, I can't get through because I'm not digging it at all.
At this point on TV, if they want to compete with streaming, they need to just start doing dark. Like it's going to be like HBO. So at 8:00, don't let your kids watch.
Well, I think that's
And
what,
also, you're watching it on demand anyway.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like with I know we're going on a rant here, but
people love.
well, like NBC's got Peacock, right? So
Yeah.
Peacock's gonna have special shows that aren't gonna be on NBC. But
Yeah,
like,
they already started 'em.
But here's the thing: why not run them at midnight or 1 a.m. and people will DVR them? And
Yeah.
like, listen, if you want to watch these shows, they're a little too. It's not for network, but you know what? They're gonna be on 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning. DVR them and check them out, and then come to Peacock if you want like do shit like that.
Like CBS is kind of doing that with Discovery. I mean, obviously not Discovery's
Yeah.
not super TVMA, but
Yeah.
you know, here's the first 3 episodes of season 1. Obviously now they put the whole thing out because they have no programming because of certain
I
situations.
don't know why I'm laughing.
But here's 3 episodes. Now come on over.
Yeah.
They should do that.
All right, well, let's get back to this movie.
All right.
And we're done. So,
Graham's accent is not good.
who?
Heather Graham's.
Oh, man, I don't even pay attention to that.
Oh man, she's like barely trying to do an Irish accent. They were like, she's from Ireland. I was like, all right, is that why she had red hair? Because she can't really do an accent. So they have to give her the red hair to know she's Irish. So I'm like,
Is she
and then
doing an Irish
she's
accent?
she's not doing it poorly. She's just doing it's almost like someone who came to America when they were little and were from Ireland.
Jeez.
And then Johnny Depp's accent is just, he's very much trying to, it's a proto Jack Sparrow, Sweeney Todd accent. He's always just a Cockney accent where he does the f instead of the th, and that's kind of his thing or his thing. And that's kind of his thing every time.
Is this an acting TED talk here?
I just think it's interesting because when I went to school for acting, I had a dialects teacher.
Sure.
But she was a voice teacher who also did dialect classes. And a big thing was like learning, here are distinct British accents. Here's a website to go to if you need help as an actor.
These people have dialect coaches on set.
I know. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's interesting that he always does the same British accent in every British thing he does.
Well, you're an actor, okay? And you're on a movie.
Mhm.
And let's say you've done like 40 movies. Wouldn't you still want a dialect coach there to be like, watch me?
Oh, yeah. Just
Yeah.
in case I slip.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be the
practice.
director's
Tell
job.
me practice. And yeah. I don't know. I'd assume that they had one.
I'm just saying that that's interesting that he always just, that's his go-to. Because I would be like, it's a no, like I like Colin Farrell doesn't do the same accent twice.
Right.
He's always like, unless somebody makes him do it, he always wants to try a different region or dialect of either England and Scotland, Ireland, or America. He always wants to try a different accent.
That's good.
But Johnny Depp kind of focuses on one specific section of London.
Well, see, Johnny Depp is a movie star. You know what I mean? Like he
He's
is like
not
Tom
an
Cruise.
actor,
He
right?
doesn't need.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but you know what I mean? Like he
I gotcha.
doesn't. He doesn't need to.
Yeah.
And to Colin Farrell's credit, I think Colin Farrell pushed against trying to be a movie star. He wants to be an actor. So I think that's why, he kind of
He
went.
does all
yeah,
that, yeah.
which I completely appreciate. Did you know that Nigel Hawthorne was going to play Gaul, not Ian Holm?
I did not know that.
Then you know who Nigel Hawthorne is?
Yes.
Okay. He couldn't do it because he unfortunately had cancer and he passed away actually shortly after. But yeah, so for those who don't know, he's in the Madness of King George, Demolition Man. He's also in Amistad. I actually think he would have been better because he's taller, just because he's taller than
I was thinking
Ian
the
Holm.
same thing when Ian Holm shows up. I'm like, even if his hand is working and that was all just a lie, he really doesn't have that domineering presence of like, I don't believe the prostitutes can't fight him off.
Right. So if people haven't seen the movie, which I hope you have, he has a hand that he can't move. He says he had
Brain surgery. Seizure.
He had a seizure and
So I'm
stuff,
thinking
but like
stroke. But
okay.
yeah.
But that's the thing. Like they never really go into that. And I'm wondering if we're supposed to assume that when he gets his evil state and he gets his black eye, suddenly the hand works. Like I wonder if the seizure was what made him be this way. Like if that's what they're trying to say. Like the seizure
Oh, I never even thought that. Okay.
changed him. And Yes.
Because what I got was just that he was faking it so that no one would believe he committed the murders.
Right.
But that adds to the craziness factor.
That adds
especially
to the
toward
craziness
end.
factor, but you would think that he would have killed before all this. Like he would have got into that base desire initially. Like even if it's a throwaway line where like, oh, these are like the murders that were several months ago.
Yeah, remember that one
murder. Right.
Yeah.
So like just something like that would only add to it. Like I'm okay
that would
adding.
help, that would also assist with like, because they're throwing in every conspiracy here.
Yeah.
That would also add to there were more than 5 Jack the Ripper murders.
Sure.
Because they just think that those 5 were closer together, and then there were other murders, and he always got away with them.
Right. For those who are familiar with a lot of true crime and murderous people and people that commit these things, it's not just like you suddenly decide like one day I'm going to go horrifically murder this person. You work up to that all the time. That maybe adds more minutes to the movie. Maybe you can't have that. You have a 2.5 hour movie.
Again, I'm so interested in the case and the world that they've developed in here that I'd be okay with another 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think
but maybe other audiences.
like I said before, I think sitting here talking about it with you, I think the clairvoyant stuff is really what throws me.
Mm-hmm.
And if that wasn't in here, I probably would be a little bit more like, yeah, okay, yep, yeah, I'm into this. Yeah,
I don't like the clairvoyant stuff, but I can kind of ignore it because it's so useless.
Yeah.
I do. One of the scenes I love, which I totally forgot about, is when Ben Kidney's face gets caught in the spokes when the carriage is going.
Oh, and I've missed that.
Oh, when he's fighting off the surgeon and Ben Kidney, when they capture Abberline, he smacks the doctor against the stagecoach. He takes off his scarf around his mouth, takes off the tie around his hands. He kicks Kidney out the door. Kidney's face goes down, and then the spokes of the wheel start going around because he takes a turn.
Ugh.
And it goes do, and hits his nose, and you see the face start falling off as it hits him. And I'm like, oh, ooh.
Why don't I remember that?
Maybe you blocked it out.
Did I fall asleep? I might have fallen asleep. You know what, though? I might have fallen asleep during this movie. It's really late, Butler. Well, why do you think this movie's forgotten?
I think that when it came out, Johnny Depp was doing a lot of movies like this. That was kind of his thing. It suddenly became
before he did the Sleepy Hollow movie.
This is right around Sleepy Hollow.
This
right?
was
Right
after it. This was after it. Yeah.
It's like Sleepy Hollow and this. So it's like, all right, Johnny Depp's playing the same character. It clearly didn't make a lot in the States, although it made a decent amount overseas, probably England. I know he's a star, but he's not quite Jack Sparrow level superstar yet at that point.
Well, he's gonna be. Yeah,
he's going to be. Years, but he's not quite there yet. So I think that the rest of the cast is older British actors. Heather Graham isn't the biggest star.
Heather Graham's weird. Like she's not weird, but it's tough to kind of pinpoint her strengths in terms of on screen.
Right.
Like she's great in Boogie Nights. Like her Roller Girl stuff is she's great. And I don't mean it in that way. I mean,
well,
like her actor.
I think that's the thing is she's really, really, really good looking.
Okay.
And so you only put her in these roles where we need you to be really, really good looking. And she's good in some, like she's good in her part in The Hangover. She's funny.
Yeah, but The Hangover is like a throwaway part.
Stuff like that.
That's like,
but that's what she gets. So you never really get a good like.
I just said License to Drive, Butler.
I've never seen it.
Really? You've never seen License to Drive?
No.
Butler.
Like you said, you're old.
That's classic 80s.
I have not seen it. I know of it, but I have not seen
Come on. You got to watch that.
All right.
Butler. It's classic 80s. You got to watch License to Drive. Got to. You have to watch License to Drive.
Put it on the list.
No, you put it on the list. You put it on your list.
But I think that she doesn't help it in terms of getting more people, more butts in the seats. And I think along with Johnny Depp not being like, this is a role he's done before, now you have Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr., you have Sherlock Holmes, the TV show with Benedict Cumberbatch, you have Sherlock Holmes, a TV show on, what was it, CBS?
This is not back then, though.
No, but you have these British shows now.
Yeah.
And so From Hell keeps getting pushed back the more you keep doing the Alienist and Peaky Blinders and Penny Dreadful, and I just can keep naming these other things now that keep popping up in that time period that filled that niche of, hey, do you like this kind of stuff? Because here are what we got.
Yeah.
And that kind of now throws From Hell to the back of the list in terms of like getting to it.
Do you think there's a lack of interest in Jack the Ripper on this side of the pond, I guess, in the States?
I don't think so.
Because it's not an English.
I think now with more modern technology and people like being like, oh, I solved it because this technology, it's not as mysterious as it was.
Okay.
I think definitely Jack the Ripper is better, more obviously more popular in England.
Sure.
But I think he's pretty popular here. But I think modern technology is and forensics and detective work has kind of taken some of the fun out of it.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
He's no longer the Batman villain. He's just some guy that they're trying to dissociative disorder.
All right. All right. So I guess that's it. I think it's worth people going back to seeing, regardless of what I'm saying.
Listen, I'm finally okay with. I picked a movie that you kind of enjoyed.
Oh, for God's sakes! God, your ego's so soft.
It is. I'm man enough to it. I've got enough ego to admit that my ego is very easily.
All right. So actually, join us. Actually, no. I'm sorry, Butler. Where can they find us?
You can find us on ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or ForgottenEntertainment.com, as we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. You can also find us on the social medias at Forgotten Cinema or Forgotten Cinema Pod. We post different posts every weekday, as well as commercials every Thursday. And you can find our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Clearly, you're listening to it somewhere right now, so you know where to find us. Rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us out immensely when you do that.
And join us next week. We're actually going to the 80s, 1986, for a movie I bet you nobody remembers.
License to Drive?
No. No. It's The Best of Times, starring Robin Williams and Kurt Russell. This was my pick. I'm sure Butler hates it, but I don't care because I still think it's funny. All right, so we'll be back next week for The Best of Times. I am Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.
You got nothing. How about we do something in a British accent? You want to do this?
No.
You want some grapes?
My throat hurts.
Grapes must have cost $8 million back
I
then.
need more water.
£8 million.
Maybe I should have tea.